What is good, my peoples? Welcome to another edition of the GreenBaje podcast. This week, we're back again, and I actually have somebody sitting in the co-pilot's chair. Welcome to Mr. Hasani Evelyn. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is your first time with the GreenBaje podcast. So how's it going, my brother?
Good night. Thank you very much for having me. I'm sure this is pretty big shoes to fill. Uh, but yeah, Jay, I'm gonna do my best, buddy. I'm gonna do my best. A long
Yeah,
time
man.
listener, and now I'm in the hot seat tonight.
It is true. And not only are you a long-time listener, but you are also well, I don't remember if inaugural, but you're one of our former
I think.
champions of the GreenBaje Podcast Fantasy League.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. I haven't gotten my trophy yet on my ring, but I think we'll work on it.
Yeah, we work on that. We're very happy to have you with us, Susani.
That's
Last time I was here, I was flying solo. That was an interesting experience, but having someone to sit down and talk to is much more pleasant. You know, you get a chance to bounce a couple ideas off of and see where the conversation goes. It's a little hard to meander in a conversation when you're talking to yourself.
yeah, very very much so. Or you can see a lot of comments saying, "Well, hey, Ken, I didn't agree with that," but by the time they kind of comment, the show finished, so it's not really much back and forth. So yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. But again, I'm very happy that you are here and I'm very glad that you could join me. This week's episode, I call it State of the Unions. I don't know for you, Hassani, who's over in Canada, if your Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, if he does a State of the Union address, but that is an annual occurrence here in the United States of America, where the president he gets and he speaks to all of Congress and he gives a report, as it were, of what they consider to be the State of the Union. Right now, here in the U.S., it more than likely would be the State of the Disunion, but when we're talking about the unions in this particular instance, we're talking about the two associations, which are the National Football League and the National Basketball Association.
most
For
definitely.
those of you who are plugged in, you know that the NBA starts today. So we can talk a little bit about the NBA, but you know the bread and butter of the Green Bears podcast is the NFL. So that is where we're going to start off the rip as per usual. It's not very often that I get a guest on here, and the same time that he comes, our two teams actually met in the week immediately prior. Off the rip, Hassani, your Denver Broncos, where I reside, versus my New Orleans Saints. So I'm not even going to talk about the game itself because nothing good happened for me in that game. You can talk about the game if you want, but the question I have for you as a Broncos fan, right, is in relation to Mr. Sean Payton, and everybody knows how I feel about Sean Payton, but the question is, has the Broncos or have the Broncos turned the corner? Right now, the Broncos are sitting at 4-3 to have a winning record for the first time in a while, at least
I
7 games into the
correct.
season. So, how are you feeling about Mr. Sean Payton and your Denver Broncos?
Well, it's still early. I have just some offensive concerns, like in terms of weaponry. But
Hmm.
let me take it back last year. You remember we were now coming off the 70 burger by Miami Dolphins. I know look how the mighty has fallen. Look at how last year we
Hmm.
were 1-5 or 1-4. It was bad. The defense was horrible. Everybody was saying fire Vance Joseph, Sean Payton, you got fire Vance Joseph. The men ain't playing. You need players. I know. Fast forward a year later, that defense is top three in the league. The offense is coming around. Honestly, for me, Russ next. There are some things that could be had, but I think give me that same production by Russ last year. With how the defense playing now, we could have been a lot better. Because in
Hmm.
the games against Miami, it was like 20 something. We were in the games, but defense just couldn't stop nobody. So as soon as Russ get a lead, it gets eviscerated on the left.
so I lost a little bit of what you were saying there, Justin, because your audio got a little bit
Yeah, three one.
strange. Right, there you go. So if you could repeat the last thing that you said,
I
then we
said
can
with
respond.
just a player away, I would probably call up Cincinnati, but I was hoping Cleveland would have done me a solid to put them
Hmm.
further in the hole so that they could have become a seller. But I would get T Higgins. I need to at Cincinnati on the availability of T Higgins. He's going to leave for free, so just let me give you a second round pick. I could sign him to a contract extension at the end of the season. There's my wide receiver one. And then I'm gonna circle back to Cleveland to ask about the availability of David and Joku because they have to eat Deshaun Watson's contract one way or the other. So they're going to be bad predominantly. So why not get some picks and start to build it the right way? They're probably going to draft in the top 10 for a quarterback this year. Get him, or I reach out to Jacksonville and ask for Evan Ingram because you need a tight end really to for that offense to really open up how I would like it. And maybe a
Okay.
running back, but a running back's a dime a dozen. You can get them from anywhere. So just those two skill positions that we kind of need. I believe the team needs right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's interesting that when we're looking at what the Broncos have done so far, that you may mention Vance Joseph and the defense, because as you may have mentioned, of that 70 that the Broncos held last year, and everyone was calling for Vance Joseph to get fired. You're not hearing those calls anymore, and I believe that honestly, when we're looking at what the turnaround has been for the Denver Broncos, it is all predicated on the defense. It is everything about the defense and not as much about the offense. Now, the Saints lost this game 30 some odd to like 16 points.
Yeah.
And for those that I was speaking to about that game before it started, I really, honestly, Hasani, between me and you, I mean, the rest of the listeners don't have to pay attention to this, but I was hoping that the Saints would have beat the Broncos 40 something to 0. I wanted to blow them out the water because I did not want Sean Payton to come back to New Orleans and feel like if he could just walk into the dome and walk out with a W. I wanted him to walk out with a heavy L, not just an L, a heavy L. But we went into that game down our starting quarterback, down our two best wide receivers,
Don't everybody.
missing bodies on defense. It was always going to be an uphill battle, and it didn't work out the way I would have hoped. It didn't go the way I would have wanted. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Right now, I am still not a believer in Bo Nix. He's shown a couple things that are pretty decent. He has good mobility for sure, because he ran for like near 70 yards against the Saints on Thursday. But I think it's still a little too early to pronounce judgment. That's one of the things I've been doing my best not to do with regards, especially to these young quarterbacks, because these guys are still in the first year, right?
Yeah,
This
but
is most of them have like 6 or 7 weeks, and you can't
right.
make a determination of who they are or who they're going to be at this stage.
But what we say to that? We got high off a seed. I was kind of guilty a little bit. Get high, we got high off these seeds. They show supply last season
Mm,
because that is an anomaly for rookie quarterbacks to have that type of season. It's
true.
anomaly. It's hardly like ever done to that level that he was.
Hmm.
And I think everybody taking this instant success. But the real football purists will then cast the mind back to the Peyton Manning season or Baker make it field season and say, oh well, this is more the norm. You play a full season, the guys will take the licks, take the lumps, allow them to grow and develop, and you kind of build it properly. And then to and my greatest admiration of the defense, my only defensive stud is the best shutdown corner in the league. That's my 5-star player.
Hmm.
It's my corner, Patrick Sertan the second. Everybody else is free agents, 6 or 7 round picks, just guys that just crap in and fighting hard to play to prove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
and they're playing well. They're hungry. Yes, Zach Allen coming to trade, but he's not like a instant transformation. He in the air. Aaron Donald, you got Pat Surtain, shuts down one half of the field, and then you got the front and the other half to play. But then my white boy Corner Riley Moss. Shout out to Riley. It's been
The
it's been doing
unicorn.
the thing. The unicorn. So I'm pleased, but it just goes to show you, like, egos aside, like, you don't always have to hit it with the part in the first two rounds. You get those guys
Mhm.
in the bottom that kind of hungry and really want to prove themselves, or with a chip on their shoulder, saying, "But hey, these teams over, these teams overlook me. I can show them why." And with some work ethic, I am happy. I'm happy with the defensive side of the ball.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to talk anymore about my Saints. Right now, we are just riddled with injuries. Man, keep dropping like flies. So there's nothing really there. And I don't want to talk about your Broncos anymore. I mean, I live here, but I don't. I, me and the head coach are not bosom pals. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So let's move on from them and talk about a team that, you know, people are starting to actually develop some questions about, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs, Hasani, I don't know if you know this, but the Chiefs have not been firing on all cylinders this season. We have been seeing some ordinary play out of Patrick Mahomes. He is currently 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions on the season,
Yeah.
and the Chiefs don't look like the defending champs should look, or as what we would expect the defending champs should look. So the question I have for you, Zanny, are the Chiefs still on course for the three-peat? Because when I look at it, even though they're unbeaten, they're 10th in yards per game and they're 13th in points per game. So what do you say?
I, I can I answer this as two. I can answer this in two hearts for all the viewers who may or may not know. This is my division rival. So my analyst hat on. I'm going to answer this like a State of the Union. This the Chiefs. Does it really have to? What my I don't like to judge the Chiefs in the regular season no more. Let me put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
When the rubber meets the road, the cylinder seem to work. And not to cross over sports here. Can we kind of remember? Let me use LeBron in the East all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Middle to the season, but then when the playoff hit, is that everybody flip the switch and know what they gotta do. They're doing just enough to get by, just enough. So either the Chiefs are really good and got and have the blueprint figured out for this three-peat, or they can get like the Tom Brady Patriots and lose in the final. Either way, I'm here for it. I enjoy. I here for both because hasn't been done in a while. But Ken doesn't
It's
mean
never been done.
correct. Well, never been done. You have teams that are firing on all cylinders, still can't beat them by a foot on the line because of a shoe. Like it just go. Like the magic just going their way. Like it just everything just going the Chiefs' way. Like just going. Injuries to wide receiver left and right. All right, that's still going. But I'm wondering when it gets down to the back end of the season because we got to play them in 2 weeks. I'm kind of able to see like where they're really at. Patrick Mahomes has to be better with the football. That's the major concern. He has to be better with the football. He has to take a page out of Rogers, but Rogers is very good as once he's not there, just chill out. It doesn't make sense. You don't have all your tools at your disposal now. Take the ball out. Just throw it out the end zone. Don't try to force the ball because it could come back to hurt you. Got some concerns about Kelsey, but he seems to be shaking off the rust. But yeah, it's attrition. It's the law of attrition. No, with my rival hat, no, I don't want them to get three-peat. No. I'm gonna beat them in 2 weeks. and they can start the losing streak. I'm gonna be the one to start that losing streak.
Okay. So I am not at this point going to say that the Chiefs are still on course for the three-peat. It is very difficult watching the games. Not now taking the statistics aside. When you're watching the games, you understand that the Chiefs right now are laboring in a way that they have not labored at any point before in their NFL, well, in this Patrick Mahomes era of the NFL. When you consider that the Chiefs lost their, who they were hoping to be their number one wide receiver before the season even started, before we got to opening kickoff, then who emerged as their number one wide receiver, one Rashee Rice, that many people weren't even sure if he was going to play this season, how much he was going to play this season, because I mean, let's be honest with people. He does have a case out there that is still pending
Should have
right
not been
now.
allowed to start the season. That's my opinion about that.
But the thing is, when you say innocent until proven guilty, nothing has been proven in the law courts yet. There's an allegation that he was out there racing his vehicle and got into an accident that caused injuries. But that case has not been called, so he has not had his day in court. And the reports coming out from the NFL is that because he has not had his day in court and everything is still not resolved in that regard, they're not going to do anything until that is completed. Which is why he was allowed to start the season. But you know, there's the whole thing of ball don't lie. And as a result, he got his knee blown out, unfortunately, by his own quarterback.
Yeah.
And he is now done for the year. So the Chiefs have down their two top wide receivers. Travis Kelce started the season extremely slowly, it is true. But it only makes it difficult for him when he doesn't have the kind of company on the outside that he would have expected and that everybody would have been expecting. Because what happens then is that Kelce is going to see 2 and 3 people around him all the time. Even if they're playing man-to-man defense, when whoever is going to be covering Kelce is going to have company. They're going to bracket him either high and low or on the outsides to make sure that he doesn't get the ball and he can't do the damage that he would like to do. And his numbers are showing it. I don't remember if he has any touchdowns yet for the season. He does not have more than 2. And I don't think he has.
No, probably not. I don't think I'm more than 2 right now.
I mean, I have my computer right in front of me. Let me check the stats very quickly.
Or
So far, no, Hasani, he doesn't have any.
Oh damn! Oof.
He does not have any. So the best game that he has played so far this season, well, unfortunately, is against my Saints. He had 9 receptions for 70 yards. Those are the most receptions, but the most yards he's had was against the Chargers when he went 7 catches for 89 yards. So far on the season, he has 245 yards on 28 catches with 0 touchdowns.
That sounds like Josh Reynolds' numbers, yeah. Sadly.
Right, so I mean, you're looking to the guys who usually would give you the level of production that you would expect from Kansas City Chiefs, and you're not getting it. And that's why also Patrick Mahomes' numbers are also down. But while I'm concerned about their offense, their defense is also playing very well. But the reason why I'm not convinced that they're still on the path for the 3-peat is less to do with them and more to do with that team coming out of Baltimore. You see those Ravens? The Ravens right now are playing the best football in my well, actually, I think it probably is borne out by the statistics. The Ravens are playing the best ball in the association. When you're looking at points per game,
like a video game.
In points per game, they're tied with the Commanders for number 1 at 31.1 points per game. When you're looking at just straight yards, they're number 1, 3,230. Obviously, then yards per game, they're also first with 461.4 yards. In passing, they are no, not second. Let's get that correct. They are fourth behind the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Falcons.
In
And
passing,
obviously, in
the
passing.
40, the 49ers, well, the 49ers seem like a dumpster fire. That they don't. Okay.
But in terms of the yards and then the yards per game, Seahawks 1,896 yards, 270.9 yards per game. 49ers 1,781, 254.4 yards per game. Atlanta Falcons 1,758 yards, 251.1 yards per game, and then the Ravens 1,754 and 250.6 yards per game. That's what they've done in passing. But in terms of rushing, the Ravens are far away the best rushing team in the league. 1,476 yards at 210.9 yards per game.
And you know what's the sad thing? They start 0-2, and everybody was like, "What the Ravens up? Something wrong with the Ravens." And then I hear somebody say, "Well, Derrick Henry and Lamar existing. Who's all of a sudden, pew, jets off, and I hate to see Derrick Henry running, not
You
in
hate
a
to see him
bad way,
running?
not in a bad way,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like it smells of tank, and it looked like slow motion, this slow motion running, and nobody can catch him, nobody. You see when you come
Derrick
from the
Henry.
backfield, you pick up then like first, I would say like 5 steps, like
Mm-hmm.
chugga 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 chugga. By the time you say, whew,
Derrick Henry reminds me a lot in terms of Usain Bolt from the perspective of nobody that big, that tall, that size has a right to be that fast. And then, of course, the other thing that we always can associate with King Henry is the power, the stiff arms, or the slaps alongside the helmet and get off of me. The way how that man runs, like as you said, he doesn't have the most graceful gait, but once he gets into the open field, you have hell trying to catch that man back.
like he's a brawler, he's somebody that I would take with me for a bar fight. He's that boy that can just,
Yes,
but he's also
he,
somebody that if it get too much, he can run and
yeah,
just barrel people.
he's the bouncer at the door.
Yeah,
If things get out of hand, you just call him and he will come and deal with it.
you can
So
imagine.
yeah, I'm looking at the Ravens. Ravens right now to me, if I had to pick a team, I mean again, week 7. So we take that
Yeah,
caveat.
exactly
But
correct.
if I had to take a team right now coming out of the AFC to be that team, the Chiefs still are unbeaten. So literally, but if there's a team that could beat them based on current form, I believe it would be the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't know, Ravens. Ooh, I think they got them got them this weekend. Yeah, I got Ravens this weekend. Sadly, damn, I got I'll tell you how it looks like up close and personal on Sunday.
No, you don't have them this week. You have them next game week. They're at the Browns this week, and then they're
Oh,
at home for you on the
okay.
3rd of
Oh
November.
yes. Oh yeah. I was skipping the Panthers. My bad. I got the Panthers. I know. I got 3 points this week.
Yeah, you got the playing by week,
Yeah, I
the
got
easy
it.
way. You got the easy win this week.
Yeah. For,
All
for
right, so
me.
we talked a little AFC.
Hmm.
So let's get over to the NFC. And in the NFC, the team that everybody came into the season expecting to do fantastically, the team that everybody was saying, if it's not going to be the Chiefs, well, it has to be, was the San Francisco 49ers.
Not
And the
well.
San
Not for
Francisco
me, but I'll let you
49ers,
go.
all right, no problem. You can correct me for you when they get to the end of the lead in, right? So a lot of people, not you, believe that the 49ers was going to be that team coming out of the NFC. And yeah, it's extremely hard to win the Super Bowl. Nobody's ever three-peat. So if it's going to be a team that's going to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs from winning the championship again, it was going to be the San Francisco 49ers. Unfortunately, San Francisco 49ers right now sit at 3-4. So the question I would have to ask then, are the San Francisco 49ers still the NFC's top dog?
No, for me, after I don't believe I don't think Kyle Shanahan he like I see he blow too much leads and fumble it too much and be like, oh, man, somebody show you who they are, you believe them. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
enough from Kyle to I I believe in the Lions. It's just something about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell would make me at my little small 150-pound frame. I would put my body on the line for Dan Campbell. Just to hear how he talks, how he relates to the players, I knew that they were going to be better coming into the season. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Lions play with a chip on the shoulder, like this, and Jared Goff. Talk about career rejuvenation. Oh, if the Rams got this version of Jared Goff, the Rams were probably had about two Super Bowls. But I was saying that was when Aaron Donald was defensive player of the year, and they had Todd Gurley. Like that, and that is what he has now, basically, kind of in Detroit. But he got two Todd Gurleys in David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs. Amara St. Brown. He has the other Tim Patrick. I'm missing a wide receiver. He got Sam Laporta. I think I missed Jameson Williams. Got Aiden Hutchinson and the defense sisters back there who's hurt. But yeah, I don't think San Francisco, no man. I think it's just too much issues. You got all these players paid. Someday the money will become due at the end of the day, some way or another. And you didn't capitalize in your window. Like last year was your best chance. You remember, like the Chiefs had the drop C's. The 49ers were just blowing everybody out the water. That was healthy. That was playing fantastic. Ayuk was balling. Purdy was sling. Christian McCaffrey was just running people downhill from the backfield. And then you get in the finals and lay a goose egg on a press. So that was just enough for me to say, you know what? If you don't get dude, you don't ever get it, dude. That is as good as a chance you've gotten. And now look, injuries. Chris McCaffrey gave them two excellent 80%. Because he has some little nicks in there. So two excellent seasons at 80% and you didn't get done. I know he out hurt. You gone for the season. I think Debo before we came on, Debo no get released from hospital, so he can be out. The unfortunate thing happened to Ricky Persall, so I'm glad that he's okay and back. He's not going to be back in this weekend. Jennings was hurt. It's just so much. I think one of the running backs was hurt too. The defensive side hurt. Like it's just Brock Purdy honestly has been playing better. But it's too much injury scan. That's too much to overcome. It's too much. I think they
Yeah,
just fall it.
but I don't know if they can fold it because it's. I think you have to query just how much job security Kyle Shanahan still has based on the losses that you just described. Because he has struggled in the postseason. But this is a team that was supposedly built to make another postseason run based on the fact that you have Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. Therefore, he's not making any money. I mean, he's making a whole lot more than I am. He's not making money relative to an NFL starting quarterback.
Correct.
Then you have all of this money that is tied up in Trent Williams, the left tackle, that is in Debo, in Kittle, in Ayuk, no,
MC.
Christian McCaffrey. So you have a lot of high production players that you're paying all of them. But you can do that because you're not paying the quarterback. But shortly, you're going to have to pay him. So coming into the season, I could understand why a lot of people believe that San Francisco was still going to be the top dog in the NFC because, yes, they have had their issues when they get into the Super Bowl, but they're always getting at least to the NFC Championship game.
Mm.
So you would have thought that this team would have been, built for success, but then the injuries start happening. I would have looked like a fool the last couple of seasons, Hasani, if I had said that I expected CMC to have down years because he was very productive when he was in Carolina. But the one thing I always used to say when we were talking about it was that is I don't trust him because he always gets hurt. He always picks up an injury somewhere along the line and misses some games. The very first season that he was in San Francisco, he was almost an Iron Man. He was almost always on the field, and he was playing very, very well. He was extremely productive, and I had to sit very quietly and just watch it and let it happen because I am not a CMC lover. He came from a team in my division, so obviously he would not be my guy. But now we get into this season, and he has not taken a snap. I had the first overall pick and won in my fantasy leagues, and then decided, okay, this man has been the guy for the last couple of years. He was basically the consensus number one pick in fantasy. But you see something about this consensus number one picks. This is the same thing that happened to me last year with Jonathan Taylor, and this year CMC has not played a single snap of football. We're 7 weeks in, he has not taken to the field because he has some sort of Achilles injury. And whatever that injury is, we don't know the specifics except that he ended up on IR and he's still not been activated yet.
Well, I can ask a question, Ken. I got a
Go ahead.
question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, let me say the Niners after week 9, 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back like a week 10 or 11. That his division is not that far. The division is not that far out of reach.
Mm-hmm.
And Debo is back and fit, so everybody's back. The only boy won't be back is you.
Mm-hmm.
You think they could still make? You think a CMC coming back at that time of the season would be enough to push them back to the top to roll into postseason?
If they're 5-4, all right, let's see what their schedule looks like. Because that would probably put me in a better position to see where.
IR is a 21-day designation, so he
The designation to return.
So yeah, so
all right. So coming up, they have the Cowboys, the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, and the Packers. And you say 5-4. So that means they need to win. Because they're 3-4, so they need to win 2 games. So they have to beat the Cowboys, they have to beat the Buccaneers.
You believe in the Cowboys?
I don't believe in the Cowboys. You please sign me up. No, I do not believe in the Cowboys. But on their day, we're not talking about the juggernaut San Francisco 49ers. We're talking about the walking wounded 49ers, right?
All right, so let me go for Cowboys.
Right, so anything can happen. That game is a coin flip. But then they're at Tampa Bay. You would expect that they would lose that game based on current form, right?
Mike Evans hurt. Godwin out, presumably for Mike Evans. I think out 3 weeks, maybe.
But have you seen enough then, especially when you made mention of Ricky Pearsall, and we're glad that he's back. But I saw someone had posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the healthiest wide receiver on the San Francisco 49ers is the guy that got shot in the beginning of the season. So yeah, that was it was a little harsh, it was a little unkind, but it's also true. There's healthiest wide receiver is a guy that got shot at the beginning of the season.
Correct.
So when you take that into consideration, like we don't know what to expect, but as good as Brock has been throwing the ball, I'm not ready to say that they are in a position then to take out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that is with a lifelong Buccaneers hater
Mhm.
here sitting in this chair. So 5-4. Let's say they get to the 5-4 that you.
Mhm.
So after those games, because right now they're 3-4, so they win. Let's say they win the Cowboys, they win the Buccaneers. They have the Seahawks at home. Divisional game, I think the Seahawks still beat them. They go to the Packers, they lose that game. They go to the Bills, they lose that game as well. So from 5-4 to now 5-7. All right. They beat the Bears 6-7. They
Mhm.
beat the Rams 7-7. They beat the Dolphins 8-7. They play at home against the Lions. The Lions beat them 8-8, and then they play against the Cardinals. So at best, we give them
But coming
9
down to
wins.
the Lions and Cardinals, man, the teams that started to rest players them last two games.
I don't think the Lions gonna be resting players at that point because the Lions gonna want to make sure they get that number one seed. I agree with everything you said about the Lions. Everything you said, I believe the Lions are best suited, best positioned in the NFC right now to get to the Super Bowl.
You could see any team beating the Lions in the NFC right now.
Right now, no, not the way they're playing. Not the way they're playing. Their biggest challenge, I believe, is in their own division between the Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. But outside of those two, I don't have any faith in anybody from the NFC South. Anybody, including my Saints. We can't get healthy enough
I
to do
still the
anything this
jury
season. We drafting in top five next
the
season.
jury's still out for me. I won't believe in Sam Darnold, but I saw a report today that when I saw the report came out that Rams are shopping Cooper Cup and want a second round pick. I'm not sure if you saw that. I
I didn't see
saw
the pick, but I saw that they were shopping him.
I saw somebody blog. I ain't had time to verify that the Vikings were calling to ask about the availability of Matthew Stafford. And I'm like,
Craziness.
and I'm like, you know, like them is one of them things that you do a double take. You're not even verify
Mm.
if it real or fit, but then you start to draw in your head. All right, that's he's Detroit. That's your rival. But then I thinking about the
Mm-hmm.
storyline. Oh, you know how he can be the villain now in Detroit. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of being adored by Detroit, hated by Detroit, but then you put him in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, then back. You have not Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones. I'm like, and then the Vikings defense playing the way it is. The Vikings playing a dome. Matthew Stafford is one of the best in the dome. I could see it. I could see a little Cooper Cup and well, a much advanced Justin Jefferson. I could see it, but then it went to
I
Michael.
don't. I don't see it though, Hasani. The only reason, the only thing that makes it marginally attractive from the position of the Vikings to try to make this trade today, right,
Hmm.
is Matthew Stafford is under contract for the next 2 seasons.
Hmm.
And his base salary next year is 27,000, sorry, 27 million, and
Hmm.
2026 is 26 million, right?
Hmm.
But his cap hits for those next 2 seasons pretty large,
Ooh.
53.66 million for
Okay.
both of those things. So from the position of the Rams, I can understand if they are the ones calling Minnesota and saying, "Hey, Minnesota, how about you give us Sam Darnold and you take Matthew Stafford, who's under contract for the next 2 seasons.
Mm,
Because if you remember, um, Sam Darnold right now he is playing on a 1 year deal for
yeah.
Minnesota, and when the expectation would be that after this season he is going to have to get paid because his play this year has been superb. Right now, Sam Darnold is playing on a $10 million contract.
Mhm.
$8,750,000 guaranteed. So imagine what that does for the cap space of the Rams if they were able to bring him in even this year. Because all of a sudden now they got all this money and they can suddenly upgrade their roster because the pass catchers have not been able to stay fit. Cooper Cup has been out. Puka Nakua has also been out. There was a guy, I don't remember his name, I think it's Whittingham,
Yeah, he
who
was out.
has stepped up quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. He missed the game this week as well. I mean, that cost me a win in one of my fantasy leagues.
You think it's the turf?
Uh, I don't know. I honestly don't know because we are seeing so many injuries and the injuries are happening on grass and happening on turf. I think a lot of the injuries that we're seeing is just happening because it's the NFL. This is a full contact sport where guys get hit and hit each other
But
constantly
came for the
every
advancement of
game.
science. It seemed like the injuries happening more now than let me say in the prime of Brady and man. It was just concussions then. It was concussions. Like
Yeah, but all right. So a lot of we've seen a lot of changes in the last, let's say, 20 years, where players aren't allowed to hit each other in the head. You can't hit quarterbacks high. You can't hit quarterbacks low. So they've been making some adjustments to try to make the game safer. But one of the things that they're also doing to try to make the game safer is that you can't have too many full contact practices like they used to do. Guys used to have to do 2 days and they would be out there literally hitting each other all day long or twice in a day. And what that tended to do is that your body got calloused to playing football. You got accustomed to getting hit and hitting somebody else. So when you got in now to an actual game, the hits didn't affect you as much because you are accustomed to hitting and getting hit. They've taken a lot of that out. And by taking that out now, when you go to play the game, well, you gonna get a hit, you can take a hit, but it hurts more now because you're not accustomed to getting hit all the time.
yeah,
So when you take all that into consideration, and then like the season is longer now too, 17 games, not the 16 that it used to be. We have Thursday night football as well, which gives all of these teams that are playing on Thursday a shorter window for their recovery before they go to the next game. And honestly, that could be a contributing factor to like, especially this last Thursday night where the Saints lost Paulson Adebo seemingly for the rest of the year to a really bad leg injury. A lot of the leg stuff that we're seeing, a lot of strains, a lot of pulls,
yeah.
a lot of soft tissue stuff.
Cheers. Yeah.
Guys are playing too much football. They're playing too much football and not getting enough rest. And they're not getting their body right for football enough before they get to the actual games because football is too dangerous to simulate playing football. You're either playing football or you're not.
Yeah.
And you can't play enough football then that when we get to like January, February, that guys aren't still getting hurt.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, they got a lot of other stuff happening in terms of trades and stuff, but we already up at 45 minutes, and they want us to talk a little basketball, Hasani,
Of course.
because use in mind that we sit on different sides of the coin when it comes to this basketball team. The NBA starts today. Right now, the Boston Celtics are playing against the New York Knicks, and it is a lot of belt to behind right now. The score is a lot to a little. I think they scored, there was like a 20 something point lead there for the Celtics just before it went to this break. So, Hassani,
83 to
we were watching.
57 is your score.
All right, there you go. So we were watching this season. Tell the people because I know that you and I can be at it a lot
This
during this NBA season. So we were watching. What are the headlines that have caught your attention for this 2024-2025 season?
for me is the old heads of the league, the stats, the KDs, the LeBrons, those guys that are up there in age, the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think Bronny is ready. I am,
Interesting.
I am. Yeah, he could play tonight. Box office if Minnesota, LA Lakers, first finance sound like that's every guy's dream. Get a child, be able to do something, and for black, and we as a black people, that's a win. So guaranteed tonight can happen. He can play tonight with his dad. You know, everybody in media line can be tuning in. I don't think the Celtics. I was very interested to see how much a step the Knicks take, but no, the Celtics rolling in with a chip. More so, one man, Jason Tatum, because he and Jalen Brown both feel slighted. One because of sponsors, and one because he believed he should have been the MVP of the final. And so they're coming in with a chip. I want to see this Paul George experiment in Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and in the West. Uh, I'm interested to see the Clippers without PG and with Kawhi being hurt not to start what it look like. The young teams, Wembanyama, second season with Chris Paul. And for me, but the Lakers gonna always be the storyline, JJ Redick. Based on what I've seen so far for him in the preseason, our biggest problem was coaching. There was no players being run. It was just like, all right, these are star players. These are gonna figure it out. There was no tactics. I think Denver took a step back this all season more so than a step up. I don't think that Russ thing can last very long. That's just me. And Minnesota Ant Man, he talked the talk, but he called back a tell no. You talk the talk, you chirp from last season to straight through season, all season. You gotta talk the talk, cause there's no more Carl Anthony Towns. But the NBA can be good, Kango. It's gonna be good. It can be good. What about you? What are your storylines?
So I mean, you covered some of them. I expect that Bronny is going to play a few games. I mean, you don't get the guarantee contract that he has and don't play, right? So you're gonna have to play some. Um, I don't believe that Bronny was ready to come into the NBA, and I am not sold on JJ Redick either as the coach of the Lakers, but we shall see. We shall see what happens there. Um, I was interested to see how Boston was going to come into this season because winning a championship is hard. Repeating as champ is even harder. And it doesn't seem as if they're resting on their laurels, at least tonight, because right now the score is 83-60.
But with
And
8 minutes left, Kane, 26 down. Is any league safe in the NBA with 3 point shooting?
no, but when you're shooting the three as good as Boston is shooting the
Yeah.
three, especially in this game, then it's one thing if you are a team that doesn't shoot the three well and you're playing against a team that shoots it okay, and then they can suddenly get hot from three and then they can make it a game. Squid, there's a 26-point lead.
Yeah.
And Boston is dominating this game offensively, and the Knicks are still struggling. Like defensively, they're locked into Hasani. This particular game is a wrap. But in terms of like, I'm not sure about the Knicks. I've not been a believer of the Knicks, not as long as I've been alive. So yeah, I don't think that the Knicks are going to be that good. The acquisition of Towns, we know Cat is not that dude. He ain't that level of workhorse, and that's what Tibbs likes because Tibbs likes the Josh Harts that he could run 40 minutes or 48 minutes a game and play 82 games a night. games a season. Sorry. So I'm not convinced about them. I'm not really going to be paying too close attention to the Knicks. I am curious to see what's going to happen with the Warriors because the Warriors have looked a lot better in preseason than a lot of people thought they were going to look. And no, this is the first season that they don't have the Splash Brothers
We
in the
forget
same
about one
building,
thing. The Clay
right?
Thompson
So,
experiment in Dallas.
right. So we have to wait and see how that is going to go. And then we got some young teams that we're just gonna have to see how they develop. I mean, every season, my sleeper pick has always been the Pelicans, not for the championship, but at least just to make some noise in the West. And then they usually start out pretty good, and then they let me down. But I'm still sticking with my Pelicans to see
Mhm.
what they can
I got a
do.
question for you when you're done.
Yeah, I just want to see if the Zion experience is going to bear any fruit still. And they always have these players. The personnel always seems to be trending in the right direction until the wheels fall off. So I'm curious to see what they do. Sacramento is another team that you're going to be very careful. You have to be careful with. I'm going to be very interested to see how they continue to develop. And they just brought in DeMar DeRozan, so he gives them that seniority presence there as well. So he promises to be good for them. They look like if they're going to be a pretty good team. I'm just Right now, I'm just really happy to see that basketball is back because Ball Arena is going to see me a few times this year for sure. But unlike you, I think that Denver is actually going to be it's going to be better. I think that Russ being here, he's going to help take some of the load off of Jokic and off of Murray, where he can run the second unit. He can use his all energy style of play and help get people set up and put them in the right
Yeah,
positions and get them some
that
shots.
altitude is something else though. Nah.
Yeah, so imagine though when Russ is coming and he's playing like that now, then we get around to like March and April when he's gone the custom and others now are coming in and have to now be chasing him around or trying to get in his way when he's coming downhill. It's not gonna be easy. So yeah, I'm actually optimistic to see what happens with Denver this year. And like I said, Ball Arena is going to get some money out of me because I will be going to a couple of Nuggets games for sure. But you
I
say you had a
want.
question.
Well, I gotta put you on the spot. Okay. I want off the rip because you can always revisit it. I want your final four East West, then NBA Finals.
Wow. All right. So final four, East and West. You said.
hmm You don't want to
All
give me the
right.
order. I don't need the order. Just final four and then your finals. Who gonna be in?
All right. So final four in the East: Boston Celtics,
hmm hmm
Miami Heat,
hmm
Milwaukee Bucks.
hmm
Fourth one is the hard one, oh boy. Um, Cleveland Cavaliers. Spider
Well,
Mitchell and Darius Garland. They get down to the they get out to the four. All right, Western Conference.
hmm
So, boy, is anybody really put me in the spot here, no boy? Cause I think the West is harder now than it has been in a very very long time.
exactly.
All right, so Dallas, Denver.
hmm
Hmm. I put Golden State.
hmm
Hopefully, this is not a false dawn that they've shown in the preseason. And Minnesota. So Phoenix does not make it. That's between Phoenix and Minnesota for me just now.
Okay. Final two.
Final two, Miami
No, no. As in NBA Finals, who can play?
or NBA Finals.
Yeah,
Ooh.
out of that four.
All right, so Denver for the West,
hmm
and
Hmm. I ain't hear that one. I didn't hear.
Miami. Miami.
I have a rematch.
A rematch, yes.
Wow. Mine is a slightly different.
All right. Let me hear
For
you.
me, for East is Boston, New York Knicks. I believe the Knicks can be there. I believe the Knicks. The Knicks was too good. Boston,
Boy,
the
I said
Knicks.
that you got a feeling that Cat can get to below fired, but anyhow, continue.
Miami because this is Jimmy Butt contract here. I know you know how men's behave contract here,
Of course.
and Milwaukee.
All right.
Wait, sorry, no. If no, if I let me make a correction here. Take out
All right, go
Miami.
ahead.
I can
Mm-hmm.
play Philly for a reason. Philly, Philly, and Milwaukee.
Okay.
For the rest will be I got play King James. This is King James. I believe Phoenix can be in our four.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State. I pull in for the veterans this year. I
All
pull in for
right.
the veterans. I pull in for the veterans. And Denver. Like not Denver. Then that's before. This is my final two in a
Mm-hmm.
perfect world. That needs to happen.
The Lakers versus who? 'Cause I know King James game the finals for you for sure.
Yeah, yeah. If it happened, it would be box office though.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, but I would take a Boston Lakers final, a, a Lakers Knicks final. I just thinking like storylines, box office. Yeah, but a Lakers Celtics, like that rivalry just. But yeah, for me, and if any of the veterans wants to beat Boston, I want the veterans. I believe the veterans gonna just kind of take back. The Olympics was the blueprint to show us what hey, these men still got it. But as we know, knock on wood, all this is if injuries happen, well, these picks will go to the window very fast.
It is true. It is
You
true.
forget one
I mean,
thing,
like,
man.
mhm.
John Morant coming back. The Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm not really paying attention to that.
Who you
That's
think
just
it
me.
be? All right, so I need all three right before we obviously close out. Already close out. Who will be worst record in NBA? Last worst record bottom feeders. Two teams. You know, you got the winners and losers. There are winners and losers.
Always. So the easy pick would be the Detroit Pistons because they've been they've been down near the bottom all the time. Unfortunately, I'm confident it's going to be a team from the East. Um, so I'll give you two options.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit is one, and Washington is the other.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I think the West is a bit more harder to predict. I
Mm-hmm.
think the two worst records can come from the East. So, yeah, maybe even Toronto, Charlotte, maybe. But yeah, yeah. MVP.
MVP. Um, but I don't think anybody from Boston is going to get it because no, the main reason why I don't think that is because Boston is going to cannibalize each other between Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. So I don't think either of them are going to be in a position to win it. Um, the teams because usually to get the MVP you usually have to have a team that is in the top four
Hmm.
of your conference. So, huh, the MVP could be Anthony Edwards, depending on how Minnesota produces. Um, but Jimmy don't push that hard in any regular season, so it's not gonna be he's not gonna get that either. Um, if Donovan Mitchell can get the Cleveland Cavaliers to a top three position in the Eastern Conference, averaging high 20s, so 26 to 28 points a game, I think he would be a good choice, a good pick for the MVP. But if Minnesota has a similar season, then Aaron's going to get it since we know he's the one that's being pushed as the next face
Yes,
of the NBA. So to get to the point of being the face of the NBA, you gotta win something, and MVP might be the start of the process for him.
for me, I got just saying before you look. I got one veteran. I would love to see either Steph, KD, or Braun in it. I would just for nostalgia say it, like just to let the young bucks know. But hold on, hold on. We still here. We still here. We's the reason y'all get this lifestyle. It's us. So for me, for nostalgia shit, especially if the Lakers could be fourth in the West. Let me just say fourth. Playing well on the JJ. LeBron numbers 26, 8, and 8. Not league might just give year 21.
Um,
You've never seen nobody in year 22, I should say. Beat this.
qu- question: do you think LeBron plays 65 games this year?
Well, in that case, not.
All right, good, good.
I
You gotta play
completely
65
forget.
games. So if he not playing 65 games, he not getting it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forget that rule. Look, man. Well,
Yep.
a young person will always win it. Cause these old boys ain't playing no back to backs. Well, Joel Embiid done saying he ain't playing tonight. He ain't playing tomorrow night or Friday night. He
But
already
I
know.
know that. But that's why I'm not putting the Philadelphia 76ers anywhere because the 76ers go where he goes. Paul George already got a hyperextended knee going into the season. I mean, the hyperextension of the knee made him take a very unflattering photo where people was cloning him continually. But nah, I
You
don't.
get sick leave early o'clock, boy. Yeah,
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 so
but
when you're dealing with a team that has dreams and aspirations of being one of the top teams in the NBA, right? But your two best players can't stay fit. Mm-mm. Yeah, they might be playing in the East, but even though they're playing in the East,
nah.
the East has gotten better. And I think that it's gotten better to the point where it is not guaranteed when they don't have their best horses that they get up into the top four of the Eastern Conference. They're probably playing away in that first round series.
Yeah.
Jeez, on bread. 111 to 81, Sonny.
All right, yeah, that's a wrap. We just wait for 10 o'clock.
Murderations.
We just
Yeah,
wait
it's
for ten
true.
o'clock, James.
And just like it's a wrap for them, it is a wrap for us. This has been great. Thank you very much, sir, for being here. Before we get out of here, tell the folks where they can find you and what you got going on.
Well, you can follow me on Hasani IG, Hasani HD24 on IG, PSHD33 on Twitter. My Twitter feed will probably be busy now for the rest of the season, and all group chats with LeBron James. I've already started, but yeah, working, enjoying life in Canada, getting ready for enjoying fall before you get into the brute cold. But I want to thank you for having me on tonight, Ken. AJ, I hope I was able to do some measure of justice to the big shoes you'd have to fill. And thanks for all the viewers for tuning in as usual.
Yeah, man. And we're very happy that you were able to come and give us a hand. You didn't plug your football rankings, so I don't know if you want to tell the folks about that too before I shut this all the way down.
Sure. Power rankings. Me and some guys we do some soccer rankings now. We did it to start the season, so it has me watching a little bit more soccer than usual. But this week, power rankings is Liverpool's number one. Liverpool continue their. Let me just do the read up here. They stay on top of the table. They went 2-1 at Chelsea, who has been strong this season. So, just a reminder to the viewers, this is the post-Klopp era. We was not expecting them to still be this good. Sporting Lisbon, um, Portuguese league. I know a lot of people don't watch it. We just preview it, but they have been unbeaten the whole season. Only one draw in the Champions League, and that kind of hurt their chances in the top five. And they won today again, so they're probably gonna remain. Barcelona had a little blip in the radar that week, just before the international break in the Champions League, but they're third. Napoli, just the Conte way. That's all I could say. Slow and steady, just growing out wins. And Bayern Munich back to
All
winning
right.
ways. Mentions Marcel, French league again. Mason Greenwood and those boys, as well as Florentina and Lise. But Arsenal, unfortunately, Arsenal suffered a loss and had to.
Shock defeat. Yeah,
And,
shock defeat this weekend.
and City, I just confused by Man City. I know, but yeah,
Well, the next time you're here, because this will not be the last time that you'll be with me here for
yeah,
sure. We can spend a little time looking at those power rankings in a little more depth. Hopefully, Arsenal would have done enough to get themselves back up there. For them to get it there would suggest that they've been winning some games, and hopefully the others around them would have lost a few so that we can get back into the
the
top
power
five of
ranking.
your power
All
rankings.
right, correct.
Yes, sir. So, thank you again, Hassani. Thank you everyone for who's spent some time with us. As always, we invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you'll know every time when GreenBaje is on. I'm gonna do my best to be a little bit more regular. I didn't think that after being here in week 2 that I would not be here in week 7, but I will not. It will not take me till week 12 to be back. Of course, as I said, most likely I'll get Hassani to come and join me. This has been great. We've had an excellent conversation about the NFL, the NBA, and just a little soccer talk, just as a little snippet there at the end. So we will be here to do this again sometime soon, maybe next week, maybe the week after. Pay attention to our
Yeah,
socials, and you'll know for sure. So for this week's GreenBaje, Hassani filling in. He is the green today. I am the beige, and we will see you next time.